Welcome back to FM Live. We're back here at the shop. My name's Mike, and this week we are going to be talking about what to get for that Miata lover in your life. Now, there are tons and tons and tons of options, of course, but most people are going to be looking for gift ideas that are not terribly expensive, but something that just about anybody could use or anybody would want to have on their Miata. So we compiled a list of the top 7 options I've got here in front of me that we're going to talk about today. If you have any questions about any of these that I don't cover, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I can cover those towards the end of the video, and we'll also try to pick up some comments after the video has been posted as well. All of these items that I have here in front of me, we will also be posting links to these on our web store down in the comments below as well. So if you'd like to see any of these comments or any of these products on the web store, it'll have the current pricing and availability listed there as well. So to start off with, one of the most common ones that is a really simple, easy, and inexpensive gift is our replacement dipstick handles. And this is off of our fancy 3D printer using the carbon fiber chopped filament printed material to make these guys. So if you have an NA or NB Miata, you know that it's pretty common that you'll end up with a dipstick that looks something like that. The factory handles are just kind of flimsy, I guess we could say. And they break. Oftentimes they'll just break off at the top or, somewhere along the loop that is no longer here. So an easy thing to do, break off whatever's left, get it down a little bit. That way it's almost flush with the top of this little shoulder. And then it just snaps in place just like that. Super easy, very, very functional. And this is much, much stronger than the factory one is. So no worries as far as longevity. This will last forever and ever, amen. But very easy upgrade for the NA or NB Miata lover in your life. Another really good tool, and this is for really anybody, and even outside of the Miata world we found, are the jack adapters. So these jack adapters are something that you'd fit on the pinch welds of your car. And this allows you to stick it in the cup of your floor jack, and then that will ride right over the pinch weld of your vehicle, so that way you can lift it up from the center of the car, from the jacking points. You don't have to use the specified jacking points that are just in front of the rear wheels or just behind the front wheels, because this cradles that pinch weld really nicely. And it's made of a polyurethane type material, so it's actually something that it's not going to scratch your paint. If there are any kind of plastic body kit pieces like what's on some of the NDs and some of the later NCs, if you have that plastic pushing against here, it's not going to scrape or scratch or mess it up at all, because it's a soft enough material, but it's also fairly stiff, so it'll flex a little bit, but this thing can easily lift a Miata, no problem. These guys are very inexpensive. Pick up 1 or 2 for yourself and other Miata friends. We use them a lot. Highly recommended, the FM jack adapter. Another one that I like a whole bunch are the weighted Delrin shift knobs. So these guys, they are a handcrafted, believe it or not, spun knob that have a metal insert. They're a little bit taller than the factory shift knobs, just a skosh, but they're weighted just so. They're not like heavy weighted shift knobs, but they have enough heft to them that they make a really nice engagement when you're moving from any of the gears. This will fit all NAs, NBs, NCs, and NDs. So it's designed to fit any of those models. They all have the same threads, thankfully, on the shift lever. So if you like a nice, not over the top kind of shift knob, but you like a nice, good engagement, you like I like just the hand feel. Is that a word, hand feel, or a term? But this is what I have in my own personal Miata. I really, really like these. Nice, simple upgrade. And also because it's not metal on the outside, it'll get warm in the summer, but it doesn't get just scalding hot. So it's got a little bit of an insulative property to it as well. These, you've probably seen these before, are our 3D printed door bushings. There are lots of flavors, and we've had a couple different designs of these over the years, but these are the current generation. So these are 3D printed, same as our little dipstick handles, and they have the same carbon fiber chopped material that's mixed in with the filament that's printing these guys out. They replace your stock rubber bushings, and this really makes a big difference on the NAs and NBs, but this will fit, again, all years of Miatas. And those rubber bushings over time, they get floppy, flimsy, but what they do is you'll have a metal cup that engages them on the door, because this is bolted onto the frame where the door closes into. And that cup, when it engages these guys, it has a more positive locked interaction with these stiff 3D printed guys versus the rubber ones, and that'll prevent your door from moving around as much. And you might think, well, what do you mean? It doesn't move around. I close the door, it's fine. Yeah, but it does flex. And especially if you're going over bumps, if you're going over transitions, like pulling into driveways, your doors do flex actually quite a bit more than you probably realize, especially if you're talking about an NA or NB. So to get rid of some of that flex, to improve chassis rigidity a little bit, or my personal favorite is that this actually prevents the door from moving around and rattling all the bits inside of the door. So if you don't like all the door rattles, you may have even gotten used to them. I put these in mine, and I didn't realize that I was dealing with so much extra noise, because then after these went in, it was quiet. I was not expecting that. So great upgrade for NAs and NBs, but still very applicable for the NCs and NDs as well. Next on our list are the pedal cover kits. So we have different options that will suit all the NAs, NBs, NCs, NDs. This particular option is for the NAs and NBs. They have basically the same pedal configurations. And you can see that there's a dead pedal cover, you know, because you need high traction on the pedal that doesn't move too. You've got to brace yourself when you're in those high G corners. But of course, also with the gas pedal, the brake, and the clutch. So this one in particular is for the gas pedal, and it doesn't have the same kind of textured surface or raised surface. It is blasted, so it does have a bit of a texture to it, but this bolts onto the side of the gas pedal, so that way if you need to do some pretty clever heel toe, you just have to kind of lean over with your toe and you can get the gas pedal really easily. Again, another item that I have on my personal Miata, and I love it. They'll look a little different for each generation because the pedals do get configured a little bit differently for each one. But these are a very straightforward, simple install. Most of these, they just have bolts that go through some of the holes, nuts on the backside of the pedal. Some of them you do have to drill through the pedal. That way you could have the attachment, that mounting point. But overall, pretty straightforward install. Excellent upgrade, even if it's a street car. Probably my personal favorite are the hood lift kits. So these hood lift kits, they replace the stock hood prop that holds up your hood. And this is another one of those things that you think, why? That's not really a big deal. If I want my hood open, I put the prop up. Yes, and it does work. It works fine. However, one of the really cool things I liked about this is that if you do any kind of maintenance on your car, especially if it's in the front of the engine bay, you know, belts, hoses, any of that kind of maintenance stuff, having to fight around that stupid prop rod gets old fast. So if you want to get it out of your way, these guys install in the back corners of your engine bay on the hood, and they will lift up the hood and keep it out of the way without that silly prop rod in the way. Just to give you an example, you can see over here on Andy that we have them installed. This is the ND specific version, obviously. There's a version for all 4 generations. And they really don't take up much room at all. They're all kind of positioned further back like this, so when you're working on the car, even if you're working back here towards the back of the engine bay, everything is really easily accessible. The other really great thing about these is that they actually hold the hood up a little higher than the prop rod. So normally, this one, actually here, I'll show you, it's got the prop rod on it still. If we were to put this down, there we go. So that's where it would normally sit with the prop rod. But since we have the dual hood lift kit, See how much higher that is? You gain nearly a foot worth of height, which doesn't make a whole bunch of difference, you might think, but if you're working in a garage that has low lighting, or if you're out somewhere that you're facing the car away from the sun, lifting it up that little bit extra does allow more light in here to work. I think it's a great, great upgrade. Easy install. For most of the generations, it's bolt-in. For the NAs and NBs, I say most, I guess the NC NDs are mostly bolt-in. The NAs and NBs, you do have to drill and tap some holes on your hinges. We do have the drill and tap kits for those if you don't have those particular drills and taps. But overall, a pretty simple installation. 45 minutes, an hour if you've got an NA or NB, quicker if you have an NC or ND. So very, very nice. Another upgrade, again, I have on my own personal car. Last but not least, one of the new kind of hot items that we have been selling this year have been our LEDs. And probably the most popular are the corner lights. So these in particular are the NA-NB design, and they don't look that much different from a stock one. This one in particular looks a lot like the stock one, but you can see there's a strip down the middle here that has those LEDs in there rather than just a single incandescent bulb. And these guys look just like the stock on the backside. They plug in, they screw in and attach this using the same points. Very easy install. Instead of having a bulb that plugs in, you have a little bit of wire to work with. So again, pretty easy here. It's literally plug and play. But these guys are much brighter than the stock incandescents. So if you're tired of those big SUVs or, you know, the pickup trucks that just go flying past you and it's a pretty close shave, if you want to have more visibility for those kinds of drivers, having the brighter lights does help. The smoked option here is this one's got a cover on it. I'll kind of peel it back. You can see that comparing the smoke to the clear, if you like that aesthetic choice, I personally do, it still is a very bright option. Although looking at it in daylight, it's hard to see through it much at all. You can still see it a little bit, but if you like that smoked look, these are a really cool option. They're still just as bright, if not a little bit brighter than the incandescent bulbs that you get on the stock housings. If you really want to just blast them away, the clear ones are super bright. So if you like the really bright look, these are a great option. To actually see some of these guys in action, we have them installed on Captain Bob. So let's take a look. I'll show you what they look like. So as you can see, these are the clears and they are colored. I probably should have covered that earlier, but for the rears, they are red. And then for the fronts, they are that amber color. And likewise, to show you the smoked option, let me turn them on for Andy, our trained ND. And you can see between the two, they're still very bright. The smokes are not as bright because the LED, it does have to go through the smoked, basically tinted lenses compared to the clears that are just unfiltered, more or less. So you can tell that the clears are brighter, but the smoked are still very visible. No problem seeing them in daylight. Obviously not at nighttime either. They are also colored matched. The one thing to note, and I don't know why Mazda did this, but if you have an NB, your rears won't light up. Unfortunately, you do have to run wiring for that. All the other generations do have wiring to those stock corner lights in the rear. So sorry, NB guys, that's the one downside. But otherwise, it's pretty simple. It's 2 wires. If you need help with that, give us a call. We can certainly point you in the right direction. That's pretty much it as far as what we wanted to cover today anyway. There are tons of other products out there. If you really want to get wild, you know, maybe the Miata guy or gal in your life that really makes your socks go up and down deserves a turbo kit for Christmas. I don't know. But if you're looking for a simple, easy upgrade that will really make a big difference in their car, that way they can feel like I've got a cool upgrade. These are all niceties, I guess is a good word for them, They just make your life easier. They make the car more enjoyable to drive. So I recommend them. If you have any questions about these, certainly let us know, and we'd be happy to talk to you about them. Thank you all for watching. We sure appreciate it. We will be having another video again next week, and we will be covering another topic. I'm not sure if we've made that public yet. We haven't. You'll find out. It's a pretty cool one. So thank you again for joining. We appreciate it. We'll see you again this time about 2 o'clock on Thursdays. Thanks again. Keep on boosting.